The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by HotMovies.com. Try out some ethical, paid-for porn for free with none of those hidden fees or secret subscriptions when you sign up at HotMovies.com and use the promo code MANWHORE. The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by Alt Playground. APG is more than just a place to find couples to swap with. Alt Playground is a lifestyle community for all non-monogamous and sexually adventurous people to connect and share. And you know I started a profile. Join me over at altplayground.net. That's A-L-T playground.net. Now let's get to the show.
Welcome to the Man Whore Podcast.
Shout out to all you threesome wizards and orgy organizers, you gangbangers and party planners. This is Billy Persida, and you're listening to the Man Whore Podcast. Welcome to the show. The show that has recently been reviewed as, quote, it kind of sounds like he's all over the place, but I don't know. I don't get podcasts. Hey, everybody. This week on the podcast, we go back a little bit to my roots. Longtime fan whores know that this podcast started over 6 years ago with me talking to past partners about sex, dating, and why we didn't work out. And in a way, you know, this kind of harkens back to that because there's some constructive criticism throughout this episode. But I don't know if y'all remember, a couple years ago, I threw some gangbangs because quite a few women asked me to. And just like my father, I'm not good at saying no to women. So this is one of those ladies. This is one of those gals. O is with us today. We're going to be hearing a little bit from her and her gangbanging experience in a little bit. But first, folks, I was recently, I don't tell you all about every podcast that I go guest on, but I got to say, if you want to hear a little bit of another side of me, if you're big on the body stuff, the anti-diet culture, I was just on the recent episode of R.I.P. Diets, hosted by a friend of the pod, former guest of the show, Emily Lubin. Yeah, the same Emily Lubin from the Hot Miss Comedy Hour. And, you know, it felt like therapy. And I think it's really good. I think y'all should check it out. You can get an idea of, like, where I'm at. And then also, holy shit, we won! Oh my fucking God, it's almost over. Kind of, sort of, not really, but a piece of the puzzle. Oh, Jesus. Oh, like we're not there yet, but it feels like the puzzle's starting to come together. This is voting Trump out is like when we complete the border pieces of the puzzle, but fuck, there's still a lot of work left to do on the interior, but I'll take it. Hey, and in case you thought you were done with election news, LOL, JK, January 5th, we got 2 Georgia Senate runoffs, and it not just for the sake of announcing another Senate election or anything, but this one's really the difference between if shit gets done in a Biden administration, or it's more of the same blocking shit from Mitch McConnell, who, by the way, after the election, again, instead of debating COVID relief, voted for another federal judge. So anyways, if you live in Georgia, if you're from Georgia, if you have a residence established in Georgia, you can still register. Even if you recently turned 18 after the election, you can still register in Georgia. Go to one of the websites I like is votesaveamerica.com as an easy place to get your voting info. Some emails. This is going to be a little mixed bag of email stuff. This first one is an email I sent to last week's guest, Dr. Justin Lehmiller, because I had a follow-up question I thought of while I was editing his episode. Because I had a question I thought of like shortly after we finished recording, and I am not polite enough to keep such questions to myself. I asked him if you were able to do the research the way you'd prefer and have participants, having sex and masturbating, etc., under observation. Does it throw off the data if the person or persons involved get off on exhibitionism? Like, is that something you'd have to screen for or account for in gathering subjects? And Justin was quick to reply. He said, good question. And this is a concern that's been raised about observational sex studies. Are the people who volunteer for them different in some way compared to the rest of the population? The answer is yes. For example, there is some research finding that people who volunteer for these types of studies are more comfortable with their bodies and have more positive attitudes towards sex compared to those who decline participation. If you're trying to study what's happening inside the body physiologically during arousal and orgasm, this selection bias probably isn't a major concern. But if you're trying to study people's actual behaviors or how long it takes them to reach orgasm, that's another story. And we need to be cautious in generalizing results broadly, which again was kind of the message of his episode last week. When you see a headline on BuzzFeed or wherever saying sex study says this, it's like, take it with a grain of salt, because we're probably talking about like correlations and things, and you have to look into how the study was done. Anyways, he continues, as for exhibitionism, most people who do observational studies try to screen out exhibitionists in the recruitment process because their responses are likely to be different from everyone else's. So yes, there is some screening that happens in these types of studies. However, observational studies always struggle a bit with gathering truly representative samples of the population because there are a lot of people who just aren't comfortable taking part in studies like this. Hope that helps. I feel satisfied by the answer. Thank you, Dr. Justin Lehmiller. And once again, Tell Me What You Want is available wherever you like to get your books. Okay, this next question came in from Shimon. He asked, hey, Billy, where would I be able to find private play parties, even socially distanced, where I can go with my girlfriend? We want to do same room sex and voyeur stuff. I'm on APG. Hey, good job. But they don't have anything really going on in the New York area. I told him, I was like, hey, man, there's a pandemic going on, so I beg that you do not go to a sex party, even if you found one. No orgy is more important than the public health. Hashtag we not me. He responded, you're 100% right. Oh, that sentence gets me hard. Is there anything else you can recommend to make or keep things interesting in the meantime? And I assume that to be in the exhibitionism, watching other people world. So I gave him some tips, gave him some suggestions. First off, public sex. Public sex is a great way, especially in New York City, to like have some fun, to spice it up, to risk being caught with hopefully not actually being caught. You can even involve other people, which I think is brilliant. Like, I think when you do public sex and you want people to kind of see, book one or two pervy guys to watch you, but they have dual responsibility as lookouts. So you get to just enjoy fucking. They will let you know if someone's approaching. And then you also know, hey, I can see people watching me. Cool. And New York, as I've always said, is a great place, even in normal times, for public sex because of the anonymity of a crowded place. The cops aren't concerned with public fucking because they're tackling actual crime or protesters. And there are a ton of secluded spots you can find here. Okay. Me personally, just give you a little taste of the resume. It's like, I've eaten pussy on the sidewalk. A woman lactated in my mouth in a park. Okay, that one was technically in Louisville, Kentucky, but it could have happened here. I've gotten head in my car, just pulled over in the afternoon. I think like 19th Street. I've had sex in Central Park between two parked cars, a basement level staircase next to the sidewalk, and of course, as we've heard on, I think, episode 15 or so, in an NYPD parking lot. I would say stay away from schools and children-y places. I know I mentioned a park earlier, but be smart. And again, don't forget the New Yorkers. They don't have time to get mad about it if they catch you. At worst, you're going to get told to scram without any consequence. No one's going to call the cops on you if they catch you. They will call the cops on you if you don't stop though. Okay, so second tip, invite a voyeur. I kind of allude to this in the public sex tip, but it applies here too. Sex parties are a terrible idea right now, mostly because of the party part. We've decided, it seems, as a country that we're all going to take calculated risks and minimize our number of contacts, I hope, but that we're not going to fully lock the fuck down. So I can't realistically tell you just stay the fuck home because it seems like nobody wants to do that. I'm still all for that, by the way. If they say tomorrow, martial law, we're going to feed you for 3 weeks, but stay the fuck home, I'm game. Anyways, so I think it'd be perfect for him, for Shimon and his lady friend, to invite individuals to come over. Masked is great. You can still do it masked. They can watch from the corner of the room. We can really distance this. We can make it safe and still hot. You can even make a whole thing of it. You can set up a chair in the corner, a glass of whiskey, put some lube out for him or her right over there. You can set up their little station, make it cute. And then your voyeur, gets to watch and rub one out from well over 6 feet away while wearing their mask. And you get to watch someone watch you. And then you can do that several times, which is taking way less risk to the public spread than having them all together at once, clumped together surrounding your bed, right? So there's a responsible way to do that. And of course, we all know my fave right now, glory holes. The New York City Health Department has recommended barriers for safer sex right now. Do I have to explain this one? I just really recommend it. It allows for stranger play. It allows you can know who they are and just keep the barrier up for safety. However you want to do it. There are a lot of options to have over both feeders and suckers. Shimon, I don't know if you suck cock yourself, but it seems like your girlfriend does, and that you like getting your cock sucked. So there's opportunity here. So I would recommend that you can get a curtain. You can get fancy and go to Home Depot and set up a wooden one, whatever you're feeling. And I've had, some success getting women from Reddit to come over and visit. Next up, this one, uncomfortable, but threesomes, foursomes. Look, if you really want to do the group sex thing and for some reason you can't wait, which you can wait, everybody, but if you can't, I think this is forgivable. It's very irresponsible to attend an orgy right now. But since, again, we've all seemed to agree it's okay for us to see at least a few people, I think arranging a date with a lucky third or another couple is like a forgivable way to get this nut. Be a little particular about who you decide to meet with. I'm begging you to care about your potential playmates' COVID practices. Please skip the chick whose Instagram is full of mixed mask group shots for the past 8 months, right? I think you can be a little pickier. And then y'all can go meet up outside or do a virtual date. And then ideally, if the chemistry is good, you'll have a couple of new partners to play with without exposing yourself to a group of sweaty, heavy-breathing cum dumpsters. I wrote that down. Heavy-breathing cum dumpsters. That's what we all are. Next is an obvious one. Webcamming is another great way to involve that exhibitionism safely. This one is fun because you can make a little coin too on the side. You can sign up for a site like Chaturbate, which, by the way, if y'all want a Chaturbate referral link and make your whore boy a few extra bucks on the side, shoot me an email. I'll give you a link. But then you get to show up for all sorts of strangers. And you can also use that same account to perv on other people's cams when you're like more in a voyeur mood, right? So, and it's all from the safety of your own. And the last tip I would give is similar to this last one, but sexting buddies. You could also join a sexy group chat, which these seem to be growing in popularity. Because these group chats, it's almost like it's nearly on-demand stimulation or validation. I love it. My Patreon community, of course, we have the Peep Show, which is our naughty group chat, and we just share nudes, memes, and compliments all day. And it's, of course, it's very sexy and sexual. Today is, as I'm recording this, Titty Tuesday, which is a little bit more like a Tallywhacker Tuesday, the way the guys are posting. But, it's a fun group, and you make friends, and we're like forming actual connections while showing our naughty bits to each other. Of course, you can join the Peep Show. You can join at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast or find some friends or see if you can find a group chat online to join with your girl. So I hope all those tips help. I hope that you can go be a bit of a safer slut out there. Seems like you're getting antsy. All right. My last question came in from actually a Peep Show member, but Jack asked me about Kamala Harris. He's not from here. He's from a faraway land. And he was asking me how I feel about Kamala Harris and her seemingly anti-sex work stances now that she's going to be vice president. And I'll keep this brief, but it's just like, right now, Kamala Harris's most recent stance it's a couple years old, but I think it was pretty much an end demand model. It's legalization, not decrim. That's a step towards the right direction. She'll get there. She's further along than most politicians. So I would say let's cut her a little bit of slack in that regards. People like to bring up her her time as the state AG of California and being a prosecutor in Oakland or San Francisco. And it's just like, you know what? Like, show me what she did that was so different from everybody fucking else at that time. She hasn't been the state AG in quite a bit of time. And back then it was very different. The cultural conversation was different. I think it's just like with jokes. I don't think it's fair to hold her to a current standard then if she is showing progress since then. And I think she is. Whether you believe her or not, she's saying the words out of her mouth, and that's the beginning. And then we'll see what she does. As my homegirl Rachel Maddow says, watch what they do, not what they say. But we can't make sex work decrim this like impossible standard because no one will pass it. As I explained to my friend Jack, I right now just keep convincing family and friends. Keep convincing people that whores are people too, and they deserve to just do their jobs. Because politicians are not original fucking thinkers. If the polling on sex work decriminalization were to be the majority of the country, guess what? We're most likely going to see sex work decriminalization happen around the country, or at a minimum, less attacks on it. Like, I got Bobby Persida on the sex work decrim bandwagon. Now, if we can all get our suburban mothers to support sex work decrim, I think we're going to start seeing legislation move. But you can't just start by yelling at Kamala Harris to get it right, because like there's no power there. Anyways, but I am thrilled that she's VP. Thrilled about it. Thrilled. Anyways, you can send me your questions, your comments, your criticisms. I would say your titty pictures, but now I ask you send a tip on OnlyFans first. But you can send all your emails to me at manwhorepod@gmail.com. Love to hear from you. I got one little announcement before we get to this week's guest. It is Black Arbitrary Sale Duration. Yay! Black Monday, Black Friday, Black Week, Black Month, Black November. I don't know. I don't know why it's black, by the way. That's just saying. I'm sure there's some sort of reason why it's called Black Friday, but whatever. Deals are happening on all your favorite electronics and shit and thingamabobs and all that jazz. Well, a fan whore membership should get a nice discount too. So the annual membership, you can get yourself an annual membership to the Fan Whore Nation on Patreon for 15% off through November 30th. Yep, 15% off. That equates to like just almost 2 months off. You get almost 2 months free if you sign up by November 30th and pay the year in full. You get a very nice discount. After that, discount goes down or disappears. Kind of like OnlyFans. Get on board while the discount's hot. That applies for all of my levels, any tier you want to sign up for, okay? And then you can join some badass people like Newt Tong. Hey, go Warriors. That's what's up. You're getting your fan whore appreciation moment right now, Newt Tong. Thanks for being a member. And you can also join Steph Lester, a lady who just really knows what she wants. And I hope she gets much of it. And you can join her too in the crew. And you can do all that over at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Of course, you don't have to sign up for the annual membership if you don't got the coin on you or you just don't need to. Hey, you can sign up month to month, any of the tiers as usual. And now we're going to get to a couple years ago, I threw 3 gangbangs in the span of a month because my life is weird. And saw the success story from the first one, and she reached out to me. She's like, hey, I'd love to have that happen to me too. And then we had a chit chat about boundaries and limits and what she wants. So let's go learn how to put a gangbang together with O. The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by altplayground.net, the site to go for your next non-monogamous adventure. Hey-o, just because we can't go to the orgies in person doesn't mean we can't put together a nice little virtual. We can have a virtual gangbang, right? Yeah, I'm for it. Let's try all sorts of new things right now. It's a weird time. Make a glory hole and then post about it on altplayground.net. Post your glory hole on APG. Get your visitors that way. You're still getting your hot wifing encounters without exposing everybody around you to COVID, right? Oh, love it. Another thing I love about APG, super inclusive. You don't tend to see these from the old world swinger lifestyle sites, because it's not an old school lifestyle swinger site. All right. This is the new thing. It's a new world. We're mixing poly with swingers. We're mixing straight people, queer people. You can choose from 9 different gender identities on your profile. You can choose from 9 different types of relationship statuses, from, single to couple to poly. I'm sure they have a leashed option for your kinksters over there. And there's 13 sexual orientations to choose from to best represent you and who you like to bang and touch and suck on, right? APG's mission is to provide a fun and inclusive environment for all non-monogamous and sexually open people. And I encourage you all to go sign up right now at altplayground.net. Oh gosh, folks, last night, I don't know how, I don't know why, but I found myself jerking off. I know why I was doing that, but 3.5 hours. I edged myself semi by accident for 3.5 hours. Oh my. And in that 3.5 hours, I definitely was scrolling through, looking at and playing quite a bit of porn. And did I end up at hotmovies.com? Maybe I was exposing myself to all the different categories of porn as opposed to just the straight section, because I don't know, maybe I'm running out of new ideas to try and see if I react to. Maybe. And I did it at Hot Movies because, look, if you're going to jerk off for 3.5 hours, you should at least pay for some of the porn you consumed in that time period, right? Like if you watch porn for 10 minutes, you quickly rub one out, and you did it in a free place. Look, I can't yell at you that much, but if you jerk it for 3.5 hours and you didn't pay anybody in the process, you're an asshole. And there's no better place to hashtag pay for some of your porn than hotmovies.com. Hot Movies is a pay-per-minute porn site, which makes it both an ethical and affordable way to hashtag pay for some of your porn. They license content from all your favorite porn stars, all your favorite porn studios, featuring all your favorite porn categories. Okay, it's good for straight people, queer people, trans people, fetish people. They got it all. They even have stuff you didn't know existed. And you can get 20 free minutes on the house on top of any package you sign up for, including the free trial at hotmovies.com with promo code MANWHORE. Let's go learn how to organize a gangbang with O.
When I was first messaging you, that was my beginning of joining Reddit and understanding the Reddit sexual community. So it was when I saw that story, I was like,
what a terrifying phrase, by the way, the Reddit sexual community.
That's what I call it. Amongst my friends, that's exactly what I call it, because what else am I gonna say? But yeah, so when I saw the story, I was like, oh, so this does happen in real life. It's not just one of my fantasies to have a gangbang. It's a kind of common thing. So when I seen that, it was successful within something that you orchestrated, I was like, okay, maybe I'll reach out. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So, so when I messaged you, I was surprised you answered. I was like, okay, so let's see how we're going to plan this, And it wasn't there wasn't a lot of conversation, but in that time in my life, I was just ready to be outgoing. So when you said, come over and we're going to do XYZ, I was like, why not? Let's go.
It's very outgoing. You messaged me in the morning, 2 or 3 hours later, you were blowing me. It was in my stairwell.
Yeah, that was a first. I'm not going to lie. That was the very first time I did that. I was like, this is fun. This is kind of fun. So why not? So, and then when you gave me the list of things that I needed to include within the gangbang, what size dicks I wanted and how many people and et cetera, I was like, I'm going to make it as realistic as possible because, porn, I feel like porn is very unrealistic. And everybody says that all the time, but, it genuinely is. So, I tried to make it, I want average size dicks because I, even before the gangbang, I didn't really like big dicks anyway. I was like, that's not really my forte. So I was like, we're going to go for average size. Everybody has not everybody. Most people have an average size penis. And as far as did I write how many people? Do you remember?
Actually, I think I might run upstairs and check because I still have the physical paper. I found it when I was moving. I found the list and I was like, God. So hold on, let me see. Oh, yeah. Great. Why don't you grab that sucker again?
Okay. Can I open it? Can I see it?
Yeah. So this is, so let me just tell them, you can look at it and let me tell them what it is.
Yeah.
So so O here, I should introduce, this is O. O, I threw a gangbang for like almost 2 years ago now. Now, when O came over to my apartment, we had like a discussion. I mean, when O came over to my apartment, we like had a discussion. And I was like, I want you to write out, I want you to come here knowing, what was it? Requirements?
Yeah. Okay, here you go.
Yeah. It was like, what did you want? Requests, your limits, because those are really important, especially in something like this. And then any physical requirements you wanted of the gentleman, right? And those are the three things I generally try to go for when we're helping someone craft their fantasy. Like, what do you want? What do you not want? It's like, what do you want to happen? What do you not want to happen? And like, who do you want it from, or who do you want to do it with?
Yeah.
So whether it's a gangbang or a threesome or a glory hole, like whatever it is you're trying to achieve in a fantasy, I think those are really important starting points, to work with.
Yeah.
So you came over with this piece of paper and like we chatted about like what you needed, and is this bringing back any memories for you?
So like reading that now, like I'm so vanilla now. like as I read it, I'm like, did I really write those things? Like, did I really sit and write those things and bring them over here and then listen to you read them out loud, like as I was giving you head? Like, is that what I did? Like,
I read them out loud while it happened. But yes, you did. It's right there, and not for nothing. Aside from it being a gangbang, this is fairly vanilla. What you have written down here. Do you want to share with the people what each section was?
Do you want to read them?
Sure.
I don't want to read them.
You're like, I don't want to read my own nasty words.
Literally.
Okay. So requests. Titties groped a lot.
Oh my God.
Top of the list. Grope them titties.
I don't even remember writing that. Like, I genuinely cannot say I remember writing that.
It's just like carnal urge. You were like, I need my titties groped.
Yes, it had to be. It had to be.
Oh, this might be fun to see, how much your list would look differently now versus then. So now do you still like people grabbing at them?
No, unless they do it properly, I don't like it.
Okay.
Because like a lot of men and women do not know what they're doing. Because my boobs did grow because, I gained weight. And it's like, I got them pierced at one point, but I took them out. So I guess the sensitivity has changed also. Because now it's like, when I get my titties sucked, it's like, what are you doing? Like, just get off of me. Go away. And I just get so turned off if it's not done properly. So to let like just a bunch of random men do it and I was turned on, I don't know how I did that.
So what is properly handling your titties?
I don't mind. Like, I'm not a like.
That's not the what you don't mind, but like what do you actively enjoy?
Yeah, like so. The nipple is the prime. Like that's where it has to be. Like, and not just like sucking it, but more like not too hard, not too soft. Like it has to be a perfect suction.
What makes for a perfect suction?
Yeah. And it's also more so like also tongue play, because now it's like, okay, if you're like licking my nipples and like playing with them in the perfect way, I know you can give head now, because the same way you use your tongue is the same way you can use it on a clit. So it's like it has to go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So it's like if you can't do that properly, then I know you cannot give me head properly, and now I'm turned off. And I don't know, maybe that's just what goes through my head. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay. The next one was blindfolded. You did not want to see anybody.
I did not. And I don't know why. Like, it was more so the stranger aspect. Like, that's one of like my biggest kinks, like just not knowing like who I'm with per se. Like, of course knowing, but like not knowing them, like just quickies.
Oh, I'm a man with a glory hole in his apartment. Of course I understand this.
Yes, see, you understand. And the funny thing is, I did have a gangbang like not too far after yours, but it wasn't blindfolded, and it was way less guys.
Okay.
But I have pictures from that one, actually. I have pictures from that one.
Let's revisit the second gangbang. We'd love to hear more about that. But blindfolded, would you still want that today if you were to do this again?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah. It was the first gangbang, the one whose story you responded to was also blindfolded. And her whole fantasy was she wanted to be able to walk around New York City and if someone looks at her funny, she wanted to be able to think, did that guy fuck me? You know, like she wanted to be able to think that like anyone in a bodega might have fucked her and she has no idea and they do. Like
And
that was the fantasy.
And see, that's funny because like after it happened for like a solid month, because you know I didn't live very far, so like for a month I was like, was he one of them? Like, was he one of them? Like, was he? Like, I was just so, it wasn't paranoid, but it was more like, I don't know. Like now, like walking around, it's like I really don't know. I could have met somebody and they just acted like they didn't know me.
It's possible you have fucked someone who fucked you when you were blindfolded.
Literally.
If they keep, is that a screener question on a date? It's like you match someone on Tinder, you go on a date, and it's like, have we had sex before? It's okay. You can tell me. You can tell me if we did. Just like can you let me know?
See, I don't even think about it anymore. But now you put it back in my head, and now I'm gonna be on my way home thinking about it for the next month. For
Everyone on the train.
like, was it you?
And considering how many people we had come through that night, it's possible. It's who knows. You know,
it's very possible.
The next thing was you wanted more than 5 guys. This is for planning a gangbang important. Is we want to know how many dicks you want. There's 2 ones. Like 1, how many dicks do you want?
Yeah.
Then there's also like, how many dicks is our max? Because you always overbook this type of thing.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have flakes. You have no-shows. We had a lot of fucking flakes and no-shows.
It was also
with yours.
cold. It was very cold.
Cold, yeah. But usually people like cancel. But it was good that we had a lot, you know?
Yeah.
And you won more than 5 guys. And holy shit. I think I booked like 30 guys. Maybe
Yeah.
35. Like that's how many I was booked. And I think we ended up having like,
Was it like 16?
yep.
It was like 16.
I think
Yeah,
it
I
was like
remember.
16.
That's the number I remember.
Yep, that's how many actually showed up, came through, got in you. If you did a gangbang today, same number, more, less?
It was definitely less because it's like now, like 2 years later, I'm a much more intimate person now. So it's like, yeah, now that I think about it, I probably wouldn't want to be blindfolded because you're like, I would want to know who is there and what's going on. So like, yeah, it would definitely be less. I would say maybe 7 or 8, like max. But they would have to stay the whole time. Like it wouldn't just be, you know, how we did it in groups of like, was it 4? Yeah, it was 4.
Yeah, I was, so this was fun. I had, because of the amount of men in the size of my apartment back then, I couldn't just have everyone come over like I have with other ones. So there's a bar 2 blocks from me, and I was like, that's going to be our holding zone. And so I set them all up in like groups of like 4 or 5. You know, I like, and they each had their own individual kick group.
Yes.
And then it was, so we had like Alpha Squadron, Beta Squadron, right? And so I would just text a group like, come over. And then another group would be waiting in the living room. And then like when one group would finish, we'd cycle in the living room into the bedroom. And then I would text the next group, okay, y'all need to come over. And then you wait in the holding area. And then we kind of circled it out like that. And that was kind of fun.
See, I just remember like a lot of them, they were either sweaty or they smelled like beer. Like I smelled the beer and I was like, yeah, they definitely were at a bar. These must have been the ones who were waiting the longest because there was a lot of alcohol. But like, yeah, I was like, I remember I definitely declined to give one of them like head because it like he just smelled bad. And I was like, like don't come near me like that. Like that's gross. Like I wonder how he felt. I really want to know how he felt.
I hope he took it with stride because I think I warned everybody. I was like, hey, and this is the other thing people need to remember in a gangbang. It's like, I think the best ones, it's like, you're in control. Yeah. This is it's not my fetish for gangbangs, but it's more like if someone tells me, you can't fuck me or you can fuck me with 10 other guys, I'm usually going to lean towards like, sure, well, I'll go to the gangbang, but it's not like I get this hard on for gangbangs. So it's like, it's yours. You're in power. You're in control. You get to say yes. You get to say no. You get to stop the whole thing. Like the guys don't get to stop the entire event if they are no longer interested. They just like quietly leave. You get to end the whole fucking shebang. And that's a lot of power. And I think a lot of people don't think of the center of a gangbang as the person in charge.
Yeah, and that's another thing because well, the fact that you were there made me like much more comfortable. But it was also like at the end of the day, I had the power. Like, yeah, they were there, you know, they were using me how they felt, but if I said no, that was it. Like, that was the end of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that was also one of my favorite things.
And I think the whole thing did end with your like declaration of I'm spent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I definitely remember that. Yeah.
Like we were with the last crew.
Yeah.
But like I believe you were the one who were like, yeah, I'm good now.
Yeah. Because it was like, how long was it? It was like an hour and a half.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. So like after it was, because I remember the last people who were there. It was the black guy with the really big dick that I was like, it's so annoying.
Oh, my buddy.
Is he here? Like you snuck him in. I was like,
well, because you know what it is we used him with the previous gangbang, and he was so well behaved, and he was good at what he was doing. Yeah. So we were like, that's why I think I was like, what's your max length? Because I knew he was a packing fella.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I hope we can. I was like, can we have one monster cock? Just he's a good guy. Yeah. And he'll be good. He's good for the game. So it's like,
yeah. So I remember him, and then there was the one that just wanted to give me head.
I remember this. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Please keep going. I've told this story before. This is fantastic.
Because he was like, where did he learn it from? I don't remember where he said he learned it from.
Okay.
But he was like, I learned how to give head from somewhere, and I was like, what? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Are you supposed to have experience? Like,
so towards the end of this, in the last group, we had a fella there who he ate your pussy during the event, and you were like losing it. You were like, damn, holy shit, this is incredible. Like, you're coming. Like, this guy's tongue was for you, but you don't know who he is. Now I know. I'm watching it happen. He's a sweet, sweet boy, and he. So he goes down. He stayed around. He wanted to try to go again later on. So at the end, when you said like, "Okay, I'm tapping out," I asked, would you like to see? There was like 5 or 6 of us like in the room by that point. And I was like, do you want to see some of the guys who fucked you?
Yeah.
And you were like, yeah. One guy asked to leave. He's like, okay, I'm going to go first though. I think he's a little embarrassed. That might have been the one who you rejected the blowjob to.
Take a shower.
Yeah, guys, any sexual event, gangbang, or glory hole, or just like a standard Tinder date, or seeing a sex worker also, all this shit. Yes. Take a fucking shower. Like, get an idea of what your balls smell like.
100%.
And like, if you wouldn't put them in your own mouth, then you better go wash them off. Anyways, so we take off your blindfold. You're naked. You're like sweaty or cum covered. Who knows? Yeah. And I say, here's some of your gentlemen. And I was like, would you like to know which of these fellas was eating your pussy so well? And you were like, yeah. And I pointed at this he's meek. He's like a little chubby, but he's not like wide. Not that it matters, but like, you know, he's a little overweight, very meek, very meager, Asian fella, very quiet. And I was like, this fella right here. And your face was like, what?
Because
him?
He was adorable. He was so sweet.
Pinch his cheek.
I was like, oh, like who taught you this? Like,
and then he's like, I learned everything, and I got to actually tell her this at AVN last year. But he said, I learned how to eat pussy from watching Nina Hartley videos on Pornhub.
There we go.
And I'm like, doing good in the world.
Well, I'm glad you got to tell her, because clearly she's doing something right.
She was like, oh my God, that makes me feel so good.
Like, honestly, I hope he's doing really well in life right now. I don't know who he is, so I can't tell him, but I really hope he's doing well.
He's on my email list. You know what? I'm probably going to email the group, because I still have like the spreadsheet. So I think I'm going to send an email blast when this comes out and be like, hey, if anyone of you attended this one, she's on the pod. So what was it like to be blindfolded, fucked for an hour and a half, have the blindfold taken off, and then see some random, very different looking dudes?
See, okay, so when I took the blindfold off, adjusted to the light or whatever, I was like, this is who? Like, because everybody was so different. Because, there was like the chubby Asian, and there was a random white guy, and then there was a black guy on the bed, like, just laying there. Because he was the one who was like, I think he was the last person I gave head. Yeah, and he was so sweet. Like, he was like, are you okay? Is this good? I was like, yeah, cool. And honestly, I can't remember anybody else who was in the room.
Okay.
Like, and to this day, if you ask me to point out who was in that room when I took off the blindfold, I still cannot tell you.
But do you remember like any sort of feeling, or like, were you disappointed at what you saw? Were you pleased? Like, what's going through your head?
I don't remember being disappointed at all. Like, I remember one of the white guys being cute, and I was like, oh. I probably would have had sex with him outside of here. Like, and then like I more so was like, okay, it's time to put on my clothes. Cause after sex, it's like, I'm naked now. Like I want to put on clothes. And then I remember going to put on my clothes and the guy was like, why are you like hiding? Like you literally just fucked all of us. And I was like, because I'm naked. Like, what do you mean? Like, and it was just like, but it was more like a feeling of like accomplishment, like I got something off my bucket list.
Well, that was the other thing was, and I did this with all the gangbangs that we had organized was, I asked everyone, like, what's like kind of your vibe word? If you had to have a word to describe the vibe that you want, and yours was challenge, because you were like, I want to just see how many I can take.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, I definitely do remember that.
So I'm glad you felt accomplished at the end.
Yeah, because it was like, I thought there were going to be more, but then at the same time, I don't think I would have been able to deal with too many more. Because like, excuse me, because like, they weren't even done when I was done.
Yeah, I mean,
so
some people went twice. Like some were still ready to go. So
I remember you told me that, and it was like, so like when I was done, I was like, if there was another group, they would have been fine. Like they would have been okay. And I was happy there wasn't another group I had to entertain because I would have felt bad that they came all that way and then I was tired because I wasn't just gonna continue just because they were there.
Yeah.
Once I was done, I was done. But it went really well. At the end of the day, it went really well, and I'm really happy.
That's good.
So yeah.
Another thing, back to our list here. Yeah, no, but this list is just really great as like a way to guide us through an episode. This is fantastic. This one's a no-brainer, but it was condoms or proof of STD testing, no exceptions. That one was in all caps.
Yes.
I wouldn't have been comfortable hosting something that didn't have all condoms because like it's my bed. I don't want jizz all over. I don't want you queefing out cum all over my stuff,
Yeah.
This wasn't a hotel room. Fingering and clip play, which you would hope would be a no-brainer, like a given.
Yeah. But like, see, it was less the fingering and more so the clip play. Because I also learned like in the past 2 years that I don't really like fingering either. Like unless they're doing it right. Like I've gotten so picky now.
But is that not with all sex? Like you don't like something unless it's being done right.
Yeah.
Right?
Basically.
Like is it?
Yeah.
Like some people are like no anal unless it's done right. Which if it rarely happens for them means they don't like anal. But or like you're like fingering unless it's done right.
Yeah.
It's like well if it's done right all the time, wouldn't you like fingering more often?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that's true. Definitely.
What makes for good fingering for you?
I don't know, because I don't ask for it often. Like if I'm having sex and they try to do it, I usually stop them because it's like I don't want to be disappointed, so I'm just gonna stop you here. So like I genuinely cannot tell you. My previous partners who I did like, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
Part of me wanted to be like, let's find out. No, okay. And then this one was just, the last request on your list was. Penis in my mouth
Oh my God.
on command. This is also why we overbooked this thing because we wanted to make sure we had penises ready for your mouth on command. Granted, I like to think that my cock would have always been ready for on command. Like if no one's ready, like I'll volunteer. Do you remember what that one was about?
Yes. So I personally just really like giving head. Like, that's just something I enjoy doing.
I enjoy hearing that.
So like when I like in the gangbang, of course there's enough guys for like me to have all of my holes like, full. But it's like, they're also shy. So I knew like I had a feeling they were going to be shy. So it was like, when I want to give head, I'll give you head. When I don't, if like somebody's stroking really good, then bye-bye, be gone.
Yeah.
So it's like, it was easy to say, come here, I'm going to give you head while he's doing this. Or like, hey guy, come, whoever you are. Like, so yeah, that was more so like when I wanted it. It wasn't like, okay, he wants head. That's not my problem though, because I don't want it right now. So yeah, it was like that.
Now, do you remember why you wanted a gangbang in the first place? What did you see the post and were like, oh, yes? Or had you already wanted that and the post more like validated it and made it realistic?
Yeah, it was more so I had already wanted it. Like that's one of like my favorite porn categories. So like seeing the post, it was like, okay, it does happen. So let's see if I can make it happen. So yeah, it was definitely something I had already thought about doing. Even like within like people I was entertaining before the gangbang, I was like, hey, let's introduce a friend. And they were usually like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, you're boring.
As in like two guy threesomes?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's an easy test also for like whether or not you want to fucks with somebody is like if he's down for the two girl threesome, but he won't even entertain the idea of a two guy threesome. Bye. You don't have to be into it. It doesn't have to be your favorite type of threesome. We don't always have to have our favorite type of threesome. Sometimes we can have your favorite type of right? It's like
I feel like if you're a man, if you're a straight man and you're only into a 2-girl threesome, or even if you're a bisexual man, quote unquote, because you know some of them, apparently it's a trend now to be bi to get like more females for whatever reason. Yes, it is. And especially it's going.
Are they writing about this?
No, like it's a trend now within my generation. Well, for the most part, to also be a femboy, like wearing skirts and like looking cute to get females' attention.
What makes you think that it's for that purpose?
Because you can see it. Like you can see I can see when they're really like femboys, just like actually looking decent. And then when some of them are literally just doing it for attention, because most of their like videos or pictures in skirts and like in, feminine attire is just put together so they can have people in their inbox.
But like, could part of it just be that like they don't know how to get all prettied up yet? I mean, because it sounds like you're saying like, oh, if you pass, you're good. If you're not really passing for, like, let me put it this way: like, if I wanted to pretty up, like, I wouldn't know how to.
Yeah.
And not all of us are gonna look as pretty when we're dolled up.
Mm-hmm. But of course, you don't have to like look perfect. Like you can tell when somebody's like trying and when somebody's not trying.
Okay.
So it's like like I've seen a few of them where they're like, okay, I'm gonna put on this skirt just because, like they just do it. But in their like actual life, like, so I'm into TikTok a lot. Like for what? It's entertaining. I'm gonna be very honest.
It's your generation's app. Listen, you don't have to justify it.
I love it and I'm not gonna deny it. So like on TikTok, there are a lot of like, I see guys who wear skirts and like, who try to look cute. And then I go to their Instagram or I go to their Twitter and they're straight masculine. And it's like, where's the disconnect?
Are these all, I mean, I won't deny that like it's possible some people are playing around with stuff to get more pussy, but also it's like we're in an age right now. This the way I've been seeing is that we're in an age where like we have all these new gender modifiers, we all have these new identity labels that we weren't as aware of before. There's a lot of people, especially your generation, right? Especially the generation coming up right now. Is like finding solace in it and finding themselves in it and figuring it out is what I've learned. Even me, like I've been questioning my own gender for a few years now, and not really sure what's going on there because this whole masculinity thing does not fit with me. And I've been saying, I'm like, I'd be nervous to even say to anyone that I would like non-male pronouns because I wouldn't change a fucking thing about it. Like I would still look like a dumpy dude because it wouldn't be because I want pussy. It would be because like I don't see myself as this like man. And society is just always gonna perceive me as that because look at me.
But gender is also very fluid, so it's like you can look like what society perceives as a man, but you can also go by they them, and you can also go by she her. I've seen a few very masculine women who are assumed to be like males, but they actually go by she her. And I see like one of my closest friends, like she's very masculine. Yeah, she's very masculine, of course. And I don't mind calling her she, but like if we're out in public, like me, I'm very feminine. It's obvious. My nails, my hair, very obvious.
Sure.
If we're out in public, they'll think that we're a hetero couple because she looks basically like a male. Like, especially she has like a buzz cut and, she wears very baggy clothes or whatever she wants to wear. So it's more like you can go by whatever you feel like. And people just have to respect that no matter what you're perceived to look like. And that's definitely what my generation is breaking out of. Like,
so then, but I guess what I'm curious about, and I'm not saying this to attack, I genuinely don't know because I'm not on the TikTok, but I guess like what is the difference between someone who is maybe trying to either play around with gender or discover themselves through gender and gender expression and someone who you think is a straight guy who's playing pretend for pussy?
I feel like the difference, what I see the difference to be is like the people who are actually like, trying to find their gender, playing around, or even just, wanting to wear different clothes. You can tell like based on the confidence level in their like posts and in their content and also like how they defend certain things. Like, of course there's always going to be trolls everywhere, no matter where you go, no matter who you are. So in their comments, like if people are like, oh, you look gay or you look this, that, and the third, or you look, you're a man, you should be wearing jeans and chopping wood. And
I don't fucking chop wood.
I mean, we're city. You don't have to chop wood,
Sure.
but building sheds. Let's say building sheds because
Okay.
men are supposed to build sheds. But yeah, so when people are in their comments like that, you can see the difference in the responses. Like some of them, they get very defensive. Like some of them, they're like, "Oh, I'm still a man. I just like to dress up, yada yada yada." And then some of them are like, "I don't care what you say because I'm gonna express myself how I feel." And it's like,
Is the first one no good?
yes, I consider the first one to be no good because it's more like, okay, you're claiming to be a femboy and you're claiming to, be trying to figure out like your identity.
Okay.
But as soon as somebody comes and say you should be a man, you automatically go to I'm still a man.
And how
Like, I'm
old
just
are
doing this.
these potential fakers?
I'd say between like 17 and like 24.
So it's also
Like, in
possible
March.
that like during that's a very fragile and vulnerable time when we all desperately want to fit in. That's probably the
Yeah.
peak, just to give you a heads up of what the future holds. Like after you get past that age range, ideally you start to give a little less of a shit what other people think. But like that's the peak of wanting to fit in.
Oh, no,
Is
I
that
noticed.
right? So it's like maybe the defensiveness is in part like trying to be comfortable with what you're doing or discovering or playing around with, and then seeing these attacks and trying to stave off these attacks. I don't know. I would challenge you to think about whether or not it's truly faking or if it's just more insecurity mixed with that toxic masculinity, defensiveness
Yeah.
of people in an age range that is supposed to be when we experiment and try to figure shit out. That's just me. I mean, look, if it was dudes who were like going, I'm not fucking queer, and then he's like, or someone's posting a picture in a skirt like, hey ladies, and in parentheses they said only.
Yeah.
Right. That I would say, okay,
Yeah.
that might be suspect a little bit, but
Yeah.
it sounds like to me, not watching myself, like maybe they're just trying to figure it out. And it's scary to figure things out so publicly,
Yeah.
It's
I just don't
I'm just trying to
want,
be a cute guy on Instagram, and that's intimidating because I'll have people be like, you're fat, fuck off, stick to jokes, you're not even good at that.
Oh my God.
It's like I got the OnlyFans and I like, people want to crack jokes and I'll be like, it's so I don't know. I'd be a little sensitive with the potential femboys.
Yeah. But I just don't want the LGBTQ community to turn into like, a joke or like a meme because of, certain people who are abusing it because they see the attention that femboys are getting. Because it's the same with like I don't want to say trend, but like every hashtag right now, like Black Lives Matter, like all cops are bad. I don't want it to turn into something that it's not because, people are using it for clout or using it for certain things.
Sure.
That's why I'm like, I feel like that's why I'm so defensive in terms of like, the LGBT community. Because I love them. I love all of them.
Well, also because you are more recently identifying as part of that community.
Yeah, of course.
Because when I asked you before in preview, you were like, I was straight, but now I've realized I'm bisexual.
Yeah. But even if I wasn't a part of the community, it's
I mean, I don't want people to mock, queerness either, but I also recognize that like queerness is discovered at all sorts of ages and is
Yeah.
discovered as I'm seeing through all the different people I meet and speak with, that it's discovered in different ways. And then I also personally know just how vulnerable and how tough that, I mean, it's not like I know how tough that age, we all know how tough that age range is. And that's
Yeah.
an age range where we are discovering stuff. So that's why I'm like, I don't know, like it sounds a little policing almost in a way. And it seems like it comes from a good place. And I've been there too. I've just been finding it's easier to let go of that because do you know the Serenity Prayer?
no.
I love the Serenity Prayer. This is it's not religious. Don't worry, it's an AA
Okay.
thing.
I was like,
It's not a religious thing. It's an alcoholic thing. No.
Oh my God.
But the Serenity Prayer goes, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I know for me, like I've wanted to like be, fight for this, that. I'm still not perfect at it, but accepting things I have no fucking control over has definitely at least calmed me down a bit, and allowed me to avoid certain fights that weren't going to lead anywhere, even if I win. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like, like maybe someone's wearing a skirt and making out with guys at the bar just to get pussy. And also like, like it's same thing when people go like, oh, he's faking feminism to get laid. Like if only all men were faking feminism to get laid. Like, what an improvement on society that would be. Like, for a little bit, we'd have everyone following some rules.
Yeah.
And then we can work on them actually believing stuff. But at least let's get people, like, stop raping each other. Can we at least, like, wouldn't that be a world?
We can start somewhere. Yeah, no. I mean, I definitely, like, am going to take what you said into consideration, be much more, open to not automatically saying, oh, they're doing this for clout or XYZ.
Yeah.
Because now that I do think about it, it's like, yeah, it is scary at the end of the day. Like, I haven't really experienced, like coming out or like something of that nature.
Yeah.
So I don't really know like how the emotions are.
Does the family know yet?
I don't even know yet.
About your bisexuality.
We're still trying to figure it out.
What was the first inkling that you were like, oh, maybe, titties look good?
That's the thing. I've always been like I've always found women to be way more beautiful than men because men are.
I've looked in a mirror. It's fair. That's fair.
No, not you. You're amazing. You're amazing. But it was more like when I was younger, like, and in the communities I grew up in, like being gay or being lesbian wasn't really like accepted. So, I kind of just went with the flow. I was like, okay, well, I guess I like men, I guess.
Religious
whatever.
family or?
No, just more like the Black and Hispanic community. So it was more like, I guess I got to do a man, I guess. And, I started liking them, kind of. Not really, but kind of.
Enough that you fucked 16 guys blindfolded.
Anyway.
It's like, let's keep you in check a minute.
That actually reminds me.
Says a penis in my mouth on command.
You know what? Anyway. That actually reminds me of when you asked me when we were first like planning it, and you asked me if your friend with the dildo could come. Your female friend with the dildo.
Friend of the podcast, Anna Super Slut. Hey, Anna.
Yeah, and I remember I said no, but because I wasn't sure. Because it was more so I didn't want her to be uncomfortable.
Oh gosh, she would have been
so many guys,
so comfortable. Because Anna's very fun. She and I'm kind of glad that you didn't want her to come, because when you bring the lady with the strap onto the gangbang, she automatically will outfuck everybody because she can't come too quickly. She will always be hard.
Yeah.
And you can't compete with that.
See, and it would have been done right there. It would have just been me and her. They could watch, but it would have just been me and her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I didn't know how she would have reacted to that many guys. So it was more like, let's just not.
She would have been, she's an orgy friend of mine. Like she's, we both go to the same play party we're used to. She came and fucked the women in the previous 2 gangbangs.
I know, you told me.
And she blew both their backs out. Like I said, it's intimidating because like I can't.
Then, well, maybe next time.
So what was your first experience like with a woman?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I haven't really experienced anything with a woman because I'm so scared to like approach a woman.
So I think you definitely still qualify as baby gay.
I told you. I said that.
Little baby queer.
Anyway.
Love it. That's cute. So, I mean, when I guess, was your starting to like accept, want, whatever the adjective is, was that happening pre-quarantine, or did you only discover you might want some pussy during waves my hand in the air?
Yeah, no, it was definitely pre-quarantine, pre-corona, before I even knew what corona was.
Did you get on apps? Did you make attempts to connect?
Yeah, so like when I was first on Reddit, like I have a like separate account for, my vanilla stuff, like, my computer science stuff. And then I have a separate account for my porn because, gotta separate the two.
I guess, I mean.
I do. I need to. It keeps me
very
focused.
professional of you.
I can't. Whatever.
That's actually a great idea. I might have to steal the idea of like having my normal Reddit and having a porn Reddit. Like, because it is difficult for me to scroll because one, at this point, the algorithm has most of the porn stuff and random acts of blowjob is all like at the top of my feed. So if I could just like get that stuff out of my feed, I might like learn a new thing. I might read an article.
Because it's like, I can't have all content, where they post little cute dogs and then have somebody sucking dick immediately after. Like, I need to disconnect. No!
I just, I'm just letting you know.
No, I can't do that. So,
So you got you have your separate Reddits,
Yeah,
and
but for all legal reasons, this is a joke because Reddit can't take away my accounts. But yeah, no. So I have my separate account for my porn, and like, I've been more so on like the women on women sections, and I'm like, wait, I kind of like this. But even before that, like even in high school, like when I was like first like introduced to porn, the lesbian sections was always my favorite. But I never really like thought I might be, attracted to women. I just thought, I prefer watching women rather than, being with a woman.
And it's like very normal to, for women, like even heterosexual women, lesbian porn is like still a very top sexual fantasy in like every study they do on women and desire. So even straight chicks like lesbian porn, and there are straight guys who like gay porn for whatever reasons,
No, but then when I first joined Tinder, my friend convinced me to join it. I had it on both men and women just to see like, who was on there. And when I started matching with women, I'm like, oh wait, this is way more entertaining. And then I had switched to just women for a while on Tinder. And I wasn't really like, nothing was really going anywhere because, with men, I'm used to not having to make the first move, so I'm used to having people come to me first. So with women, it's way harder because, we don't approach each other.
Someone has to be the one to maybe get rejected. Welcome to the club. Welcome.
I see what you guys go through now. I see. Listen. And then I'm more so into femme women. So it's like, now it's like, okay, we're both femmes. So neither one of us are going to do anything first.
I think you'll find some very assertive femmes as you continue your exploration.
Probably. Because, so back in January, right? I was going to California, but I was going by myself. I travel solo by myself all the time. I love it. 10 out of 10. Would recommend. And so I had paid for Tinder because I wanted to like meet people out there. I wanted to have sex. Like, come on. And so I had matched with this girl, we were talking, and she was like, so I'm going to come to your hotel room, yada, yada, yada. I was like, oh, okay. What are we going to do? Like, what are you talking about? And she's like, we're going to do what we do. Like, it was awkward for both of us. And she told me, she was like, this would be my first time with a woman. I was like, this would be my first time with a woman. And then I ended up canceling on her because I had matched with a guy. And I was like, this is way easier. I know
how this one works.
Yes, like this one. And that was actually a really good sexual experience. Shout out to him, wherever he is. I have him on Instagram, actually.
I was gonna be like, do you know who he is?
I know. He keeps trying to get me to come back to California, but he's not paying for my flight, so I'm not going back. But in that moment, I was like, I kind of could have went with her, but like, I was nervous. I was like, what if it goes bad? Like, what if I don't know what's going on? Like, I don't know how to eat pussy, which apparently somebody told me it's easier than sucking dick.
Sure,
but like.
If I think me and one Asian man I know might recommend some Nina Hartley videos to you.
Oh my God. So it's like I'm still trying to figure out what I actually like, because think about it, that was 2019. 2020 right now at this very moment, I'm more so into masculine women now. So like, I don't know. I don't know right now.
And you don't have to, and that's the beauty of like being like your age, is that being a college-aged person is you don't have to know. No one should know. And not for nothing, I don't think anyone should accept the identity of anyone under 25. Straight people too. Like no one's cisgender, trans, non-binary, gay, straight. No one's any of them until you're at least like 25 so you can figure it out. So yeah, the frat boy Chad, he's not a straight guy yet. He's got to run out that clock a little bit first, because who fucking knows? It changed. The most lesbian chick at my high school, the most proud, is now identifies as a heterosexual woman, is a mom. It fucking changes. And it's supposed to. Like, it's okay that it changes. Like, no, you don't have to give a definitive answer now. It's just like you don't have to know what you want to do for the rest of your life at 22.
Yeah.
Like, you're allowed to change career trajectories whenever the fuck you want, especially then.
And that's the thing, I would 100% believe like what you were is what you were. Like even in middle school, I had a best friend who was like really into Nicki Minaj. Like she adored her, and I was like, oh, that's cool. But then I found out she was actually like lesbian, and I was in middle school, and I was like, okay, whatever, I don't care, like cool. And then so we had fallen off in high school because she lived in Harlem, I moved to Brooklyn, communication dropped.
That's basically like going from, New Jersey to California. It might as well be cross country.
Literally was.
Honestly, I've sometimes wanted to go see someone in California before I wanted to like take the train to the Bronx. I'd be like, I'd rather go to JFK.
I constantly go to DC and I do not go to the Bronx. My second home.
Have you considered moving south, Jennifer? Because then maybe I'll see you.
Literally. Yeah, no. So we had reconnected in college, and she told me like she was just going through, you like know her history or whatever. Like we were connecting, and she was like, "Oh, I dated this guy in high school, because he had come over one day." And I was like, "Oh, he's cute. Who is he? Like, put me on." And she was like, "Oh, I actually dated him, so he's off limits." And in my head, I was like, "Wait, didn't you like girls at one point?" And then I realized that like she wasn't like. She didn't really have like a sexuality. Like she just dated whoever she wanted to date. And that's also when I like the wheels in my head were like, stop putting like labels on people because, it changes all the time.
Yeah.
And that's when I started discovering myself also. Cause I was like, if it changes all the time, does that mean I can change? Like, am I allowed to do that too? Like, so, it's just been a process, The past like 2 to 3 years, it's just been a complete process.
So you haven't even made out with a woman yet?
Oh yeah, of course I have. Of course.
I don't know. You said I haven't had sexual experience as a woman, so I.
No, I mean, but making out is making out. That's not really...
but I haven't made out with a man yet. So.
You should try
it. So let's now next on the sheet that again, and this is probably the most important section.
Yeah.
When you're trying to get ready for some sort of like an elaborate scene, is limits.
Yeah.
What we're not doing. So first one is no anal/anus play. And we appreciate the medical terminology. Anal/anus play at all. So no butt stuff.
And that's still a rule to this day.
That's still the rule to this day.
Like one guy, he put a thumb in my butt and I was completely turned off. Like, but this is not during the gangbang, completely different, completely off.
Not on my watch.
Exactly. Perfect host. But that's no.
Wasn't for you?
Not even in the near future. Because there was another guy, he was like, I'm gonna like put my dick in your butt. And I was like, no, you're not. Like, I'm not. What's wrong with you?
That is not the way to put it. I would really like to put my dick in your butt. Might be a nice adjustment, and then we can gauge a reaction. And you can also just outright ask. But he was
so adamant about it, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm never going over there again." Like that was the first and last time.
Okay.
So no, that's still not something I'm into.
No race play. Which now this. I appreciate why it would come out like for me it would come out left field because like nowhere in any of the posts, but is that something you just have run into in the course of your brief sexual career?
Okay, well, to the podcast, I am Black. I'm assuming they did not know. So actually I did. So I had one hookup with like this Asian guy and can I curse on here? Like
it's called the Man Whore Podcast, and we are talking about. Let me check again. Gangbangs.
I don't know. You never know. So he called me mid-sex because it was rough sex. So he was getting very into it for whatever reason.
He's finding his inner dominant.
And he called me, and I quote, his nigger woman, and I was like, "Excuse me." Like I stopped right there. Like I was like, I didn't agree to this. And he was like, "Oh no, I was just playing, that's how like I like to have sex, yada yada yada." And I was like, that's not what I'm into. So that's not something I'm done. Like that was the end of my night.
And that's definitely a pre-sex conversation.
A very big pre-sex conversation. Because of course some Black women are into that, whatever. Yeah. I don't care as long as it's not in my bed. As long as it's not in my bed. So like that's one thing. And it's like coming from so in high school I went to Brooklyn Tech. It's like this really big majority Asian. It used to be a majority African American school, but whatever. So a majority Asian, it's like hearing them say the N-word a lot and hearing them, just make a lot of racist remarks. Like I was kind of used to it, but it was still like, I'm out of high school now, you should be mature enough to know that's not something you just say on a regular. Like like it was just you're making me think about it again.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, hey, look, if there was a place to not be called that, Jesus, in a bed while they're inside you should be at least that place. That should be on the short list of places. It fucking never happens. The whole world should be on the list, but sadly, that's not where we live yet. Sadly, but and race play doesn't. It's not just like using slurs. It's also playing into role plays, right?
Yeah.
It's all, or even just like commentary. Like, I mean, is that a thing that comes up with non-black partners where they just
See-
like, they're kind of commenting on it in the midst of things?
See, so that like encounter was after the gangbang, you know, just something regular. And I'm gonna be very honest, after that it was strictly black guys. Like for a very long time. Cause I was so like, what? Like I was just like so in shock. Like you would just say something like that. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like I've never like gotten home so fast in my life. Cause he had drove. Like we went to get drinks and then he drove to the hotel. That was the quickest I've ever called my Uber. Like that was the quickest. And I was like, come on Uber, zoom, let's go. I want to go home.
Is that the only time that's happened?
Yeah, that's the only time that's happened. And I was in Bushwick going to the other side of Brooklyn. So it was like a 30-minute drive of just me processing what just happened.
Yeah.
And even when I got home, like I got home, went to sleep the next day, I was like, was that real? Like I was trying to figure out if it was real or not. Like,
Yeah. Like it's so extreme that like when you put it on your limits list, I liked to have thought like that one is one, like no anal, cool. That's a one that remind us because I thought no race play. I didn't even think we would need to say that. You know what I mean? Like that's a thing you ask for, not a thing you get told not to do.
Yeah. But then also like I put that on there primarily because also like even on Reddit, like, you know, when I post my little like ads or whatever, I would say I'm black because, you know, people need to know that.
Very big mistake on Reddit. Just, you know, it's not known as the nicest place to people who aren't looking like me.
Whatever. But I put it because, you know, I like to let them know, like, because I don't post pictures of myself. So I like to let them know, you know, who I am. And I've gotten a few requests, like a few far and in between. Like in the thousands of messages I've gotten, I've had to say at least 10 max of like, can we do race play? Or can I call you this? Or can like you be my slave? And I'm like, that's not something I'm into. Like at all. Like just no, just don't ever. No. No. So after that, straight black guys. I might venture back into, you know, other races. I don't mind it, but like
start slowly pouring some milk into it. Be
Yes.
like, okay, well, not white yet, but like let's go with some Latin Latino guys.
Yes, let's
let's work our way up the color scheme.
Yes, like for a hot second, I was not talking to anybody that was lighter than me. Even like light skinned black guys. I was like, I don't trust you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I mean, and how does it make you feel when you know, people ask, you know, about fetishizing you in bed, or even like Tinder, like going on dates? Like, I mean, like, so my roommate, she goes on this like horrid date with a firefighter from New Jersey, and I would have told her not to do that, but she didn't ask me before, so I only got the aftermath story. And she's like, the guy was like just a super racist schmuck and kept like saying how like, oh, I've never been on a date with a Mexican before, and she's like, I'm not fucking Mexican, she's Spanish, you know? It's like and I was like, this is fucking horrid. Like it was like. Like, does that, like, do you go through that when you're going on just regular dates?
No, like, not really. Like, don't get me wrong. I, like, of course, I don't, like, mind dating other races, but, like, I usually don't because it's also more of a culture thing, you know? Like, I don't have to code switch when I'm with black guys. So, like, I don't really, like, if the opportunity is presented, I won't deny it, but I don't really, like, venture outside of my race very often anymore. But I do have one Spanish guy, but he just got canceled because I just found out he's a conservative. So, you know, he had to go. He had to go.
But for you, like, you see that as more, like, defensive versus desire? Like, is it that you desire people outside your race, but you're nervous to, or is it that you're just not even finding yourself attracted to people outside your race?
It's more of a comfortability thing. Okay. Like it's just,
so it's not that you're not into them, but you're like, I don't want to risk whatever might happen there. And at least we hear this kind of like when you ditch the pussy to go to the dick. You're like, this is a proven commodity. I vaguely know how this is going to go down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's more like, it's just easier. Like, you know, I don't have to like avoid saying the N-word and avoid, you know, making certain jokes because I don't know how
you don't have to avoid saying the N-word with me. I will just not say it with you.
You know, that's how the Hispanic guy is. That's how the one Hispanic guy is. Because like as a joke, I asked him, I was like, you know, when I say like the N-word in our text, do you read them in your head? Like I just want to throw him off.
He'd be like, I mean, yes, but like, am I not supposed to? I forgot. Oh no, shit. I'm sorry. I think.
And I don't remember exactly what he said, but he was like, what did he? I don't remember. I think he said he doesn't. But then I was like, why are you lying? And he's like, I just say that so my black friends leave me alone. And I was like, and at like him, like there's a comfortability level because of like we also like kind of grew up in the same situation. Like he has grown up mostly around black people, so he's like, it's easier for me to not have to code switch and not have to like not use slang or not use certain things. But he still gets all the race jokes because, he's not allowed to laugh.
But you go on a date with a white guy, you feel like you can't use slang, you can't just kind of be yourself?
No. Like, honestly, even right now, like, I'm code switching right now.
Yeah,
it's like,
you don't have to.
I don't know. It's just easier. Like, it's ingrained in my head at this point.
I mean, your hand isn't code switching because it has been working. The Italian, my Italian hand sees your black hand and go like, oh, we're both...
Because I have to. It's easier. It's easy. I might as well learn sign language at this point. Like,
but wouldn't it be easier to just be you and other people not treat you like shit for it?
I wish. Like, even down to my job, even if I didn't have to play respectability politics, it would be perfect. But that's not the world we live in. So, whatever.
Well, if you decide to, lean back into yourself, no one's going to judge you in this space for it. If you want to go back into like how you would normally speak about no spitting on your back, the next limit was no spit on my back, front, face, butt, vagina only. Like you wanted people spitting on your twat.
Because
while not saying the N-word.
I do not like spit, like at all. Like it just doesn't. It's not something I like.
But
like,
you put vagina only as if like you didn't say no spit. You were like only spit there.
Because like you could do that, whatever. I don't care.
Oh, so that was more like for them.
Yes, but like in terms of me, like don't spit on me.
Sure.
Like. Even like, okay, I had this one encounter with this guy, like we hooked up and like he's on top of me and he started to spit and I was like, whoa. Like I put my hand right here, like in front of my face. I put my hand in front of my face to catch it because I was like, you're not about to spit in my mouth. Like,
nope.
Who do you think I am? Like, what's wrong with you?
Meanwhile, my first date with my current girlfriend, it was requested that like I spit in her mouth. I'm like... And then I was nervous because, like, I've never done this before. I hope my aim is good. I hope my spit doesn't taste that gross. Unless she's into it, then I hope it's super nasty.
Yeah, no.
So that was a limit more thinking about. Like, it seems like some of this is more not like limits. These just seem like, I don't know, these just all seem like you're preempting, like, bad things that have already happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I wouldn't. One bad thing and my whole night is canceled. Like, so it's just like, let's avoid it in the beginning so we don't have to deal with it in the middle. And I also just don't like spit. Once again, I just, no.
Sure. And then the other thing was under physical requirements, you were the simplest. Oh, God bless you for it. Just all it was no penis bigger than 8 inches. The blindfold is partly why it's such a short list, but you were like, no, nothing bigger than 8, which... Such a mature thing for, because you know what, like someone else your age goes like, I want all the big cocks and then I want 20 10-inch members and then they get 2 and they're like, owie, and I'm like, see, so when I did the first success story, right, that you responded to, that resulted in 2 more, yours and another woman's.
Yeah.
Hers was, she was like, I want at least, I think she said she wanted like at least 8, and I was like, look, I'm not trying to like condescend. Like maybe you know exactly what you're talking about. You know, maybe at your young age, your fuck history is nice and long and strong. But like 8's like a sizable dick.
Yeah.
And to have bigger than that and to have repeated for a gangbang, like, are you sure you'll want all? And then I talked her down to 6 inches, partially because I'm 6 inches. But it was like, some people, I think they want a big dick and they don't know what that is. And I think some people think they want a certain number and they don't actually know what that number is.
Yeah.
They just think that number sounds good. Like my episode 5 of this podcast, I have an ex of mine, Kaylee, on, and she's like, I love a big dick. And I'm like, oh yeah, what's big for you? And she says, I think she goes like 9 inches. And I was like, and I said, show me 9 inches. And then I was like, with your fingers, like put them up. And then she did it. And I was like, that's 6. Cause that's how big my dick is.
Yeah. See, no, like personally, like I've been very sexual, like since I was like 15, 16.
Yeah.
So it's like, when I've had experiences with big dicks bigger than 8 inches, I didn't have fun. Like I didn't enjoy it, and I thought it was just me because everybody's like, oh, I just want a big dick. I want like this, that, and the third, and I'm just like, I don't see the hype. Like, I don't see the appeal. And now I'm 100% an advocate for medium-sized dicks. Medium to small.
Medium dicks. Medium dicks
Like-
represent.
Like, I'm 100% an advocate. I will defend you in any way, any shape, form.
Yeah.
And even when I'm talking to my friends, like, you know, when we're talking about like our sexual experiences, they're like, oh my God, his dick was so big. And I'm like, okay, like that's gross.
Yeah.
Like, but do you?
Yeah.
But then it also depends on like, I also noticed that it depends a lot on like your vagina, like how loose or wide it is, or like, loose or tight it is. So like,
Which it won't be as tight if someone is doing a good job of foreplay and loosening you up without sticking the dick in you.
Yeah.
Which is why I invited Mr. 9 Inches, being like, can we have an exception for him? Because he has a big cock, but like he knows how to use it, and I've watched him be a tender lover.
yeah.
And I mean, could you? I guess could you tell when it was him?
I could, because it was like, I was full. Like, I was very full.
Uh,
And I was like, wow, this is a lot. This is not me. Like, yeah, no, that was the easiest one to tell because it was just so large. Like,
Yeah.
it was just so big. But like, even then, that's probably when I started to tap out because I was like, yeah, this is starting to get
Sure.
annoying. Like, it's starting to get too much. Because I remember getting off of him a lot because I was like, I don't really want this. Like, that's not what I was really looking for. And yeah.
and when you left my apartment, what were you think? What was going through? Do you remember what was going through your mind?
I remember being tired. I remember being very tired. I remember wanting to take a shower.
Mhm.
But I also remember, you know, feeling good. Like because I definitely came a few times. Yeah, I definitely came a few times. So it was like, it was a good day. You know, like I remember thinking it was, because I didn't want to like, funny thing is, you know, when the day came, I was like, I really don't even want to go anymore. Like I did not
Oh.
want to go because it was like, I was so tired. I don't remember what I did that day, but I was so tired, and I was like, I don't really. But I was also like, I'm not gonna flake. I'm gonna go. Like, and that's how I like do a lot of things. I'm like, I don't want to go, but I'm gonna go. Whatever. And I ended up having fun. So it was like on my way home, I was like, you know what? I'm glad I went. You know, I'm glad I didn't just flop because you know you were a stranger at the end of the day. Like I wouldn't have felt anything if I flopped. But you know, so it was. Yeah, at the end of the day, I was pretty happy. And even the next day, I was like, wow. I can't believe I did that. And I didn't tell anybody because, you know, nobody like in my immediate circle like knew what I was doing. Like they knew where I was going, you know, for safety reasons, of course.
Yep.
And they knew where I would be, but I just told them I was hooking up. Like I just told them I had a random hookup. I didn't tell them with how many people. So it was like, it was just internally.
You weren't lying.
It was just, you know, a few people. So it's like internally, I was like, yeah, that was fun. I would definitely do it again. But I was tired externally. Like physically, I was done. I think I had called out the next day actually because I was like, I'm not going in. I'm not doing this.
What are you, sick? More sore.
Yeah, I was just like, no.
You're working out? You could say that.
I mean, I was working
I
out.
did burn calories, manager. So,
Yeah, no.
and who knows? Maybe your manager was at the gangbang.
Oh my God.
I don't even know. I would need his email. I would need more his burner email. But yeah. But
Yeah.
overall, you were pleased. Like were you happy you did it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, I would say 1 to 10. 8.5.
Okay.
I'll say 8.5. Like that 1.5 was just that smelly dick. Like that. I can't. I'm a very strong smell person. So just smelling that.
You're making me very nervous about what my balls smell like right now.
No, trust me. You were fine. You're always fine.
Well, I'm glad that we could help. You know, I keep saying the royal we, like it was fucking me. I'm glad that I could, you know, put something together to fulfill that fantasy for you. It was a very
Yeah.
fun message, and like I said, it was very fun that you came over like 3 hours later, and I was like, yeah, this is great.
Remember, I was a broke college student. I was not paying for an Uber. I was not paying for an Uber. And you texted me. You was like, "This is your big day. You might as well pay for an Uber." And I was like, I don't even remember having the money in my account. Like, there was definitely a solid reason I did not pay for it, and I was sure I did not just have that money.
Yeah.
But
I'm
yeah,
glad you
no.
look. I'm glad you look back on it as a positive experience.
Yeah, no, it was 100%
Yeah.
positive. Like that. Like I can honestly say I don't regret it at all. Like it was cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Would you care to do a little bonus episode talking about your second gangbang?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
That's
I think the last question I would have then though is Oh, I fucking just had the question too. It was right here. I was like, oh, we're gonna intro bonus this. Hold on. Let me see if I can run into the question.
You should
or
have
not.
wrote it down.
Glad we could fulfill your fantasy. Yeah, we did that. Can we talk about the other game? But yeah. Pleasant encounter. I was great. I'm cute. Okay.
Oh my
and
God.
is there any no, I think let's just go into the bonus episode because I can't think of it. But thank you for chatting with us and for coming back. And
of course.
thanks for having a gangbang at my place because it meant that like I get to fuck you because I don't know if we would have crossed paths otherwise. You might have been avoiding white boys that day.
Oh my God.
But would you like to say goodbye to everybody?
Yes. Well, thank you for having me. Like literally the last time we messaged from that day was like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's good to be remembered. I felt special. And I guess I'll say bye, everybody. Catch me in the bonus episode talking about the second one, which I had I don't want to say way more fun at, but it was fun. They're always fun. And yeah. Done. That's everything.
Oh gosh, O is so excited to know what y'all thought about her episode this week. She's obviously not, publicly plugging her socials, so you're going to have to run it through me. So tweet at me at @TheBillyPresida. Let me know what you thought about my guest. Tag me on the Instagram. I'm at BillyIsPresida. You can even, do you listen on Spotify? You can actually share a clip of the show to your Instagram stories from Spotify. Just make sure you give me a tag in the process. And if you want to share the show with your family and friends, go over and smash that like button on the Man Whore Podcast Facebook fan page. Find the post for this week's show. Click that share button. Why don't you want your Aunt Ethel to know about my show? And if you want to send me, your comments, your questions, your criticisms about this week's pod, you can do that by email at manwhorepod@gmail.com. Folks, every month I like to gather on Zoom with my $7 and up fan whores on Patreon, and we have a little monthly Man Whore Munch. And the next monthly munch is going to be on November 19th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. The topic is going to be long lost loves and lovers. We're gonna go back into the tank either 8 months ago or 18 years ago. We're gonna think about some of those partners we wish we could get back for one reason or another, whether it was COVID or a marriage or grad school, whatever broke you apart. Oh gosh, I want to hear these stories. So if you want to join us for that, save the date and then go become a member at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Next week, everyone. Oh my, it's here. I finally got it. I really wish it were in person, but something tells me one day we shall hang and share a good hug. Many of you have wanted her for years. Many of you have wanted to see her blow me for years. Many of you have asked me where you can see that happen. Folks, she's coming on, and it's so good. It's such a good episode. Siri Doll is on the show next week. Don't you dare fucking miss it. Don't you dare go to that sex party, Shimon. And you all better stay slutty.